Dan, let's talk a little bit about China. I know there's a couple of quick stories there.
Yeah, big stuff out of China. First of all, possible financial contagion coming out of China. China's largest real estate company, Evergrande Real Estate, is having cash flow problems. They are defaulting on debt, or at least trying to negotiate delayed payments. They are not paying suppliers. This is a company. I mean, as you know, Ellis, I follow China closely. I didn't realize this company has $305 billion in liabilities. That is a huge organization. That's 2% of the Chinese economy, okay? Some of that, about 80 billion of that is borrowed money. The rest is money that they own to suppliers right now. So they've got actually demonstrations from suppliers who aren't getting paid. It's getting pretty ugly over there. The government's going to have to step in. But I just want to put it in context for a second. So China has seen a huge run up in its debt levels. Prior to the financial crisis of 2008, China's debt to GDP was about 120%. It's now more like 300%. They borrowed at a pace that blows everybody away, catching up to the rest of the world. Even in the last 3 years, they've been laying it on. So this creates asset bubbles. In China, the biggest one is real estate. A lot of real estate companies in China are in this position. Their stocks are falling. Their bond prices are falling. This could be the end of the real estate run up in China. Okay, that could be a big deal. Now, let's put that in context. We've got a huge run up in debt around the world. We're talking about globally debt to GDP of 350%, up from 300% after the financial crisis. And then, by the way, went up again during COVID. Okay, so we've yet to get that problem under control. We've got debt all over the place. Asset bubbles here in the United States. I mean, interest rates are negative in Europe. They're below 1% here. Stock prices prior to 1990, the average PE ratio was 15 to 16. Now we're at 35. This is a bubble market. So all of this is interconnected. The debt is the Europeans are worse than we are in terms of their debt levels. The Japanese lead the world with debt to GDP like 500%. So at some point, the party's over. And the question is, does it come with a collapse or just a decrease in growth? And it could be a huge market correction. And who knows I don't think Chinese real estate burst the bubble, but it could contribute. The most interesting thing about this, like you said, is France. So basically, the French had a deal to do submarine development with the Australians, which apparently the Australians reaffirmed 2 weeks ago and have now walked away from. France is livid. I'm not exactly sure why they're on the outside of this deal, although I would speculate it's because America wants to keep its submarine technology very close to the vest and only wants the minimum number of countries in on this particular deal. But apparently we didn't give France not only did we kick them out of the deal with Australia, we gave no advanced warning, no consideration. So yeah, the defense minister in France said, hey, this reminds me of Trump, where we're just pushed to the side. And going back to the Iran thing, and of course, this comes on top of a lack of notification and coordination relative to NATO and the Afghanistan withdrawal. So it makes you wonder. Certainly the Europeans thought things were going to get a lot better with Trump, and they got to be disappointed so far. I mean, without Trump, with the transition away from Trump.
maybe these upset countries will request the services of General Milley. Who may pick up the phone and give people
maybe he'll make a call and assure them. That's apparently what his job is.
A couple of them, right. He may be wearing a lot of hats. He's the third one. This drone strike is starting to get a little sketchy. At least reporting from the Washington Post and New York Times suggests that. Tell us what you know.
Well, I mean, apparently there's evidence that this drone strike, which we conducted in retaliation for the bombing at the Kabul airport that killed 13 Americans and a couple of hundred people overall. We had a drone strike that we said killed 2 of the individuals responsible for this. Now, the reporting is saying 10 civilians, including 7 children, were killed, and that the primary target seems to have been somebody who worked for an NGO for many years and was not a terrorist. And this is coming out of the New York Times and the Washington Post. It's getting a little momentum. This is just the kind. Now, look, is this the first time we've had a drone strike that either killed civilians or wasn't properly targeted? This isn't the first mistake we made. When you conduct a war, you're going to make mistakes. The point of this is, boy, would this be a huge mistake. Not only did we have the withdrawal fall apart like it did, but then when we go for our final military act on the way out the door, we kill nothing but civilians, including 7 children. How is that going to play on the world stage. And how is that going to play in Afghanistan when ISIS and Al Qaeda and everybody starts recruiting? I don't think we've heard the last of this by a long shot.